My son surprised me with breakfast. What he said next changed our lives forever. I woke up to the faint sound of clinking dishes in the kitchen, a noise that usually meant my 12-year-old son, Ethan, was rummaging around in search of a snack. But this time, it was early, too early for him to be digging through the fridge. The house was still wrapped in that hushed stillness that only exists at sunrise, when the world seems to hold its breath before the day begins. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming, but the smell of scrambled eggs drifted down the hallway, and my curiosity got the better of me. As I swung my legs out of bed and padded softly toward the kitchen, I braced myself for what I might find. Ethan had never been one for cooking. In fact, the last time he tried, the smoke alarm had gone off, and we'd ended up laughing about the half-burnt toast that looked more like charcoal than breakfast. But as I peeked around the corner, what I saw wasn't disaster. It was my son standing on his tiptoes, carefully balancing a frying pan with surprising focus. He was wearing an apron that was much too big for him, tied awkwardly around his waist, and his hair stuck up in every direction from a restless night's sleep. He didn't notice me at first. He was too busy sliding scrambled eggs onto a plate, his little tongue poking out of the corner of his mouth in concentration. Beside the eggs was toast, buttered unevenly but with care, and a small glass of orange juice that he must have poured himself. "Ethan," I said softly, not wanting to startle him. His head whipped around, his eyes wide for a second before a grin spread across his face. "Mom. You're not supposed to be up yet. I was gonna bring it to you in bed." I stood there, warmth spreading in my chest, watching my boy beam with pride. "Breakfast in bed? From you?" I teased, though my voice was thick with emotion. He shrugged, suddenly a little shy. "Yeah. I wanted to do something nice for you." I walked closer, taking in the sight of the slightly messy counter, the cracked eggshells scattered in a bowl, and the toast crumbs on the cutting board. It wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful in its own way because he had done it all himself. "You made this?" I asked, though the evidence was obvious. He said, nodding eagerly. "All by myself. I even Googled how to make scrambled eggs last night on Dad's laptop." I laughed, but tears prickled at the corners of my eyes. Ethan wasn't usually the type to do something like this without a reason. He was sweet and thoughtful, yes, but he was also a typical preteen, more interested in video games and comic books than making breakfast for his mom. "Sit down, Mom," he urged, pulling out a chair for me. "I want you to try it." I sat, my heart swelling with pride, and picked up the fork he had set out for me. The eggs were slightly overcooked, but they were warm and seasoned with a touch too much pepper. The toast was crunchy on one side and soft on the other. It was the most delicious breakfast I had ever eaten. "This is amazing," I told him, smiling through the lump in my throat. His face lit up, and for a second, he looked so much younger, like the little boy who used to climb into my lap and ask me to read him bedtime stories. But then his expression shifted, and he grew serious in a way that startled me. "Mom," he said quietly, his hands twisting nervously in his lap. "There's something I need to tell you. It's really important." The room seemed to still around us. My fork hovered halfway to my mouth, and I set it down slowly. "Okay," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "What is it?" Ethan took a deep breath, his eyes darting toward the floor before meeting mine again. "I've been thinking a lot about us. About our family. And I think we should do something different. Something that will make us happier." I blinked, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, then leaned forward, his voice barely above a whisper. "I think we should start doing breakfast together. Every day. Not just on weekends, not just once in a while. Like, all of us. No phones, no TV. Just us." I stared at him, stunned by the simplicity and depth of what he had said. My 12-year-old, who spent most of his time glued to a screen, was asking for family time. It wasn't just about the food, it was about connection. "Ethan," my voice cracked as I reached across the table to take his hand. "That's a beautiful idea." He squeezed my hand back, his small fingers warm against mine. I miss it. When I was little, we used to eat together all the time. But now it feels like we're always busy. You're working, Dad's working, and I'm just doing my stuff. But we don't talk as much anymore. I want that back." Tears spilled over before I could stop them. He was right. Life had gotten busy, overwhelming even. Between work, bills, responsibilities, and the chaos of daily life, our family meals had slipped away. We grabbed food on the go, ate at different times, and often sat in silence with our eyes glued to devices. Somewhere along the way, we had lost those simple moments of connection. And here was my son, reminding me of what truly mattered. I leaned forward and pulled him into a hug, pressing my cheek against his messy hair. "Thank you for telling me this," I whispered. "You're right. We do need that. And we'll start today." He hugged me back tightly, and for a moment, I felt time stand still. It wasn't just about breakfast. It was about love, about family, about the little things that made life worth living. And that morning, as we sat together at the kitchen table, eating scrambled eggs and toast, I realized that my son had just changed the course of our lives with a single request. Please like and subscribe my channel for more romantic videos.